Nairobi, the only city in Africa where foreigners are treated like humans. Nairobi, the only city within Africa where everyone among the locals protects the foreigners. In Nairobi, when they call you Mzungu, they don't call you Mzungu to insult you, they call you Mzungu to welcome you. Because in Nairobi, everyone is adventurous. In Nairobi, which is the most extraordinary city from this side of Africa, it's only the only city in Africa where the locals protect foreigners. Whether you're from outside Africa or a different country within Africa, it's only in Nairobi that you will never be asked for your documents, even if you are not a local. The Kenyan Constitution does not give any Kenyan citizen the mandate or the powers to ask any foreigner, whether that foreigner is from Africa or from outside Africa. The Kenyan Constitution does not give any Kenyan citizen the powers to ask anyone why they are in Kenya, why they visited Kenya, because the Constitution has delivered and designated and delegated that mandate only to the Immigration Department. That is why, if you're a foreigner thinking about a country that you should visit in Africa, I'm actually recommending Kenya. And that is why Nairobi stands tall among the rest. Every day, you will hear people saying that Kenya is the capital city of Africa. Nairobi makes it the heart of that phrase, because Nairobi makes it possible for you to understand that in Nairobi, everyone is treated like a human being, because it's only in Kenya where human rights are human rights for all humans, irrespective of your country of birth, irrespective of your country of origin. You need to visit Nairobi. Nairobi is found within a special country in East Africa known as Kenya. Kenya is a country that has around 60 to 65 million human beings from across the planet. With a population that is consistent in terms of creativity, Nairobi gives you the feeling that anything is possible, because this is Kenya. And if you've never heard about the Kenyan spirit, you need to know that when you're in Kenya, you can actually become anything or anyone you want to be, as long as you're hardworking, consistent, and a go-getter. For several years, Nairobi and Kenya has been known to be the part of the world that has actually given birth to some of the most extraordinary brains from this side of Africa. When you talk of someone like Tom Mboya, when you talk of someone like Wangare Maathai, when you talk of someone like Robert Ouko, when you talk of someone like Dedan Kimathi, the freedom fighters, when you talk of Kipchoge Keino, Eliud Kipchoge, when you talk about charismatic leaders like Raila Odinga, Lumumba himself, when you talk about some of the most extraordinary humans from this side of Africa, Kenya becomes the place to talk about, because this is also the country that produced one of the greatest economists ever seen from this side of Africa, Mwai Kibaki himself. So Kenya is not just any ordinary country. So if you've never been to Kenya, I would actually advise you to visit Kenya, because Kenya is actually the cradle of charisma. People always talk about Africa as the cradle of humanity, but when you talk of Kenya, talk about the cradle for intelligence, cradle for charisma, because this is the area and the part of the world where you find some of the most charismatic leaders from this side of Africa. So if you're out there and you've never ever stepped foot in Africa, I would actually advise you that the first country you're supposed to visit in Africa is Kenya. So the next time you think about visiting Africa, Kenya has to be your first stop, because this is not just any ordinary country in Africa. In Kenya, we say Karibu Kenya, and we say Karibu Nairobi.